I don't know what you're up to.
Go on to Google filming in public. It'll and even legislation.
Don't tell me what I need to do.
Right, well, don't tell me that I need to give you my details when I know that I don't.
Today's episode, courtesy of Forced Awakenings, captures a routine audit outside a council building that quickly spirals into confrontation. What begins as lawful filming from a public footpath escalates within minutes as officers demand his details, label him a potential terrorism risk, and even threaten to seize his camera. As he attempts to disengage, they follow him down the street, intensifying the pressure. It becomes clear this is one of those encounters where escalation leads and justification struggles to catch up, setting the stage for a tense and revealing exchange.
Can I help you?
No, not at all, thanks.
I'm just wondering what you're doing.
I'm just explaining to one of the civic enforcement officers I'm filming.
What are you filming?
Anything I can see from public.
Right, and is there a reason behind that?
It's for a story.
Right, okay. Can I take your details, please?
What would you like my details for?
Because obviously in the interests of public safety and everything like that, when somebody is out filming and having a look around public buildings,
right,
we have a duty of care,
right,
to check you out.
What, a duty of care to whom?
To the general public.
I'm part of the general public?
Yes.
I don't have to give you my details then.
The encounter begins with a simple question, "What are you filming?" And he responds clearly, "Public buildings for a story, entirely lawful." But the tone quickly shifts as the officer demands his details, justifying it under public safety and a claimed duty of care. The flaw is immediate. Duty of care does not grant blanket authority to collect personal information from anyone holding a camera. It applies to identifiable risks, not uncertainty or mere curiosity, exposing the demand as legally unsupported from the outset.
What's the issue? Like?
There isn't an issue.
I'm just wondering why he's filming public buildings.
Yeah, why?
I'm perfectly entitled to film anything I can. Hang on, wait a minute. I'm perfectly entitled to film anything I can see from a public place, including council buildings that are owned by the public.
Okay, we have concerns about public safety.
And your concerns are?
We don't know who you are.
That's
and what
not a concern.
Links it is.
It isn't.
In the day and age that we are in.
Are you accusing me of being a terrorist?
I'm not accusing anybody of anything. But
do you have reasonable suspicion to believe that I'm up to anything other than?
I don't know what you're up to.
Go on to Google filming in public. And even legislation.
Don't tell me what I need to do.
Right. Well, don't tell me that I need to give you my details when I know that I don't. Okay. Can I ask you to identify yourself? You haven't got any numbers on your pellets?
1,000.
1,000. And name?
Sarah Bainbridge.
And yours?
2629. You're also on body cam.
Yeah, that's fine. And you're based here?
Yes.
Yeah, excellent.
Well, I'm based out of Darlington.
Right, okay, excellent. Hello there.
Oh, yeah, you're all right.
Hello.
This gentleman is filming. He's now refusing to give any details. And
I'm not obliged to.
I can't understand why he's out filming buildings, council buildings, refusing to give any details in light of the incidents that we're having around the area at the moment.
And those incidents, whatever they may be, no concern of mine, nothing to do with me.
But I don't know who you are, and I can't check you out.
Well, you don't need to.
Yes, I do, because I have a duty of care to the public.
I'll tell you what it is, right? It's anti-terrorism.
There's no terrorist threat at the moment.
But I don't know who you are.
What do you mean there's no terrorist threat? At the moment, we're still on high.
As another officer arrives, the situation intensifies rather than settles, with authority doubling down instead of de-escalating. He leans on the concept of national threat levels, but this reveals a critical misunderstanding. While levels set by MI5 guide national security planning, they do not grant additional street-level powers. The law remains unchanged, and Section 43 of the Terrorism Act 2000 requires reasonable suspicion based on specific behavior or intelligence, not simply filming a public building. Clear guidance confirms that photography in public is not valid grounds for such action, exposing the reliance on terrorism as justification as legally flawed and outside proper authority.
No terrorist threat at the moment, and nor has there been over the past 5 years, towards any public buildings.
That's a lie, because there was one yesterday, actually.
Was there? Well, I wasn't aware of that.
Well,
where was that?
there you go.
So where was that?
We don't know.
So here?
Yes, it was actually.
Right.
Yeah, there was one to the council officers as well.
Right. In Darlington?
By an unknown male.
Right.
There was a bomb hoax yesterday.
Was there?
At 11 o'clock yesterday morning.
Right.
By an unknown male at one of the council buildings for us that could possibly be you.
Right. Well, that's nothing to do with me. No concern of mine.
How do we know that?
Well, were they still outside with a mobile phone?
Look, we're not getting into this. I am now asking you to leave the area because I feel that you...
On what grounds?
Because you are alarming the public.
No. Which section of the law? you give me this section of law, I'll quite happily move.
You just need...
Beg your pardon? I'm just
I never said one word.
The auditor issues a simple but powerful challenge. Name the section of the law, and he'll comply. This is textbook legal practice. Under Pace Code A, officers conducting a stop and search must identify the specific power, state the grounds, and provide their name and station. If they can't cite the law, it's a clear indicator they lack authority. She falters and stays silent, revealing the weakness of her position. This moment is a masterclass in holding power to account. Always ask officers to cite their legal basis, because inability to do so immediately clarifies where you stand.
You liar. I'm not going to talk to you anymore. I'm not going to talk to anybody.
That's all right, 'cause we're filming you as well.
That's fine. It's public.
Just stand
It's
here
perfectly
until
okay.
you move out of the
It's
way.
okay, perfectly okay to film in public, which is what I was explaining to your colleague.
Right.
I'll just stand here.
You can stand there as long as you want. So apparently there was a bomb hoax yesterday in Darlington. I didn't see anything in the media. However, it might just have been overlooked. The architecture on those buildings is quite similar to those ones. And that's 1903. It doesn't say on the front of this building when this was built. But the architecture, like I say, is quite similar. I know it used to be a school, and been stalked by an officer.
You gave me your details, and I could
Right, so
be happy that there is
my
nothing
details,
untoward.
my details won't give you any other information.
I would like to check you out so that I am happy that I can leave you unattended on the side of the road.
You've got no
She persists, demanding his details under the guise of checking him out and claiming she can't leave him unattended without knowing who he is. Legally, however, no power supports this. Section 50 of the Police Reform Act 2002 applies only to antisocial behavior causing harassment, alarm, or distress. Filming a building or standing on a pavement does neither. Section 1 of PACE permits stop and search for stolen items or evidence of crime, but a camera isn't one. Section 43 of the Terrorism Act requires reasonable suspicion of terrorism, which filming does not constitute. With none of these powers engaged, there is simply no lawful authority to demand his identity.
you've got no actual reason other than curiosity as to why I'm filming to be stood here
I want
asking.
to know who you are
Well,
to make sure.
I don't have to identify myself, and you're well aware of that. I know the law just as much
very
as you.
shortly, I will to prevent a breach of the peace.
You can't prevent a breach of the peace
can prevent
if
a breach
none
of
was
the
going
peace.
to take place. I'm not breaching anybody's peace.
I have colleagues and members of the council staff who are very concerned about why you are out here filming in light of the incidents
I'm
yesterday.
filming a story. I'm not filming in light of those incidents.
Well,
those incidents weren't even known to me until you made them aware.
Prove or negate either way, all I want is your details to make sure that no members of the public are a threat
They're
by
not.
you. Well,
My details wouldn't give you any more information about that.
people tell me every day
Well,
how good they are.
I'm not saying I'm not saying.
threat.
Hang on, I'm not saying I'm good. What I'm saying, I'm not denying either way.
Everybody says all the time with interactions with the police, it wasn't me,
That's because
I'm no threat.
That's because your interaction, instead of accepting what I'm doing is perfectly legal, is to cite laws that don't exist. Say that
cited a law that doesn't
you
exist.
told me that you were going to move me. You can't move me without that section, without the powers under a section.
She then invokes preventing a breach of the peace, a power often misused, but one that has a precise legal meaning. Breach of the peace is a common law authority permitting police action only when violence is imminent or occurring. Here, there's no violence, no confrontation, no disorder, just a man calmly filming and answering questions. It is not a blanket excuse for discomfort or officer frustration. It requires a real, imminent threat of harm. Whenever this is claimed without cause, asking officers to specify what violence is imminent exposes the misuse instantly.
I have reasonable grounds to believe you...
If you're asking me to move,
Yes.
right, and you can state me a section of the law, I'll move, quite happily. That's a perfectly reasonable request.
It's fine, because we've got supervision
do you
coming in.
understand what the current levels of threat at the moment?
Right, if there has
You know
been...
what the word evident means? I'm sure you do. You sound like an intelligent
If there
person.
has been a threat yesterday of some sort, then yes, I can understand.
Right. So
But
now
I,
you
but,
understand.
but I wasn't aware of that until you told me.
Right.
And
So now that's why we need your details.
well, you don't need my details.
Yes, we do.
So do you have the details whoever it was who you spoke to
Do
yesterday?
you know what's going to happen, right? I'll tell you exactly what's going to happen. You're going to end up getting arrested.
For what?
Right? Listen,
No, for
we're
what?
speaking to our supervision at the moment, okay? Based on the current threat levels and the incident that happened
now we'll
yesterday,
get an
that
order out.
ended up getting seized, okay, under the terrorism laws, okay?
Your body cameras will also be made public knowledge to me, and I'll use them.
That's fine. I want to know.
I just
we wanna
can't
know
see
who
why
you
you're
are.
being
Well,
so obstructive.
I'm not being obstructive at all.
You are being
I'm
Well,
not
you
obliged. No, there's no obstruction because I'm not obliged by law to give you
Well, that's fine,
unless
you
you
can fight that in court then.
unless you
Yeah.
reasonably assume that I don't need to because it wouldn't go to court.
you're being
You'd be looking at a lawsuit.
The officer escalates, threatening arrest and claiming authority to seize the camera under terrorism legislation. Legally, under Section 43, police may only seize items reasonably suspected as evidence of terrorism, but a phone or camera recording a public building is not such evidence, since filming is entirely lawful. Seizing it without proper grounds constitutes theft under colour of authority. The Protection of Freedoms Act 2012 further reinforces these rights, explicitly confirming that public photography is legal and should never be treated as inherently suspicious.
Being obstructive, I don't care.
I'm not being obstructive at all.
Okay.
Refusing to give my details when being asked is not an
Listen,
obstruction.
You've asked for our details, okay?
Because I'm, as a member of the public,
Yeah.
and you've been civil servant, you are legally obliged to give me those details upon request.
You've obviously got nothing else better to do.
Well, but that's my concern, not yours.
Yeah.
Filming is a perfectly legal activity.
Because we don't know why you are filming.
But I've told you why I'm filming, for a story,
A story for what?
for YouTube, for my blog.
Right, so who are you? If
I
you-
don't have to identify myself. And you're well aware of the law regarding identification, stop and search powers and procedures.
It's fine. At the moment, my colleagues are on to senior officers so that we can have a power of stop and search to get your details.
Good luck with that. You're detaining me.
I'm not detaining you.
So you just said to me I'm not going anywhere at the minute.
Listen, where do you intend to go next? Because I'm just going to follow you, right?
That's no concern of yours.
Right, well listen, I'm just going to follow you because we need to speak to you about what you're doing.
You can follow me wherever you like,
that's fine then,
but
alright.
don't tell me that I'm not going anywhere
Alright.
because that's a threat of detainment unlawfully.
The officer then raises the issue of detention, claiming the auditor isn't going anywhere while also stating he'll follow him wherever he moves. Legally, detention doesn't require handcuffs or the word arrest. The test is simple. If a reasonable person wouldn't feel free to leave, they are detained, and detention must have lawful grounds. In such situations, the correct response is clear: state, if you're not detaining me, I'm leaving, and walk away. If they physically prevent you from leaving, detention has occurred, and they must then clearly articulate the legal justification.
Right, listen.
Okay.
Would you like to come back round to the police station
I don't
while
need to.
we speak to you?
No, I don't need to.
You don't need
No.
to. Right, where are you going now?
I'm not telling you.
I'm going to follow you then, okay?
You follow me.
Okay.
The follow-up is crucial. A complaint was filed, and the outcome reportedly included training on data protection, signaling that the stop wasn't handled properly and that personal information was mishandled internally. Every police force has a professional standards department, and cases can be escalated to the IOPC, with body-worn footage accessible via GDPR subject access requests within 30 days, your evidence if officers act unlawfully. What unfolded today illustrates a familiar pattern: officers unable to cite legal powers, misusing duty of care, invoking terrorism without grounds, threatening breach of the peace with no violence, and pursuing the auditor down the street when nothing stuck. Yet the auditor navigated it perfectly, asking officers to cite the law, calmly challenging each claim, walking away when not detained, and filing a complaint that led to training. This is the essence of knowing your rights. No aggression, no shouting, just superior understanding of the law. For full guidance on every power and tactic, and how to respond, grab my Know Your Rights guide. Thousands already do. Subscribe for more, and until next time, peace.